Hey everyone, it's Secrets in the Garden. Well, this is again a part of our series for getting a little bit of an insight into some of the amazing speakers that we have got lined up for you guys. So make sure you tune into our little series of getting to know the kind of speakers that you're going to be expecting at the event. And today is definitely no exception. We've got the amazing Kerri. She is a soul coach, she's a mentor, she's a shamanic practitioner, and she's hiding her cape right now. But she works for her company called Inner Essence. So thank you so much, Kerri, for joining us today on Secrets in the Garden.
Thank you, Tennille. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
And you're coming to us all the way from the Sunshine Coast, is that
right? Sunshine Coast today. My home is in Adelaide, but I'm blessed to be doing some work up here on the Sunshine Coast.
Lovely.
Yes.
So listen, I mean, I've looked a little bit of what you've done and I think it's amazing, and I'm really enjoying this process of getting to know all the different speakers that we've got, and it's very inspiring, and you are certainly one of those as well. So for the people that may not know you or may not have heard from you, what would you say to them about who you are? What's your story?
My story? Well, I am basically a social worker. Well, I trained as a social worker. Mm-hmm. I've always had a passion for people and making a difference. Yeah. And my life journey took me on quite an unusual trajectory. And I suffered some big trauma when I was 18. Mm. And that set me on a path of big cover-up to kind of pretend that I was okay, yep. That I was doing all right, and if I faced my fears and overrode them, that meant that I was healed. And in fact, as time went on, I really found that I had just buried the trauma, and it was showing up in different ways of how I related to people and my confidence to go out in the world and follow my dreams. And I got to about 35, I think, and I thought, I just don't want to do this life this way. And so I really committed to my own healing journey, and I had profound results working on the energetic level, the healing work through body work and massage. And so I quit my job as a social worker and trained in many different modalities and started my business, Inner Essence, and have for the past 20 years been really focusing on and diving deeply into the energetic healing realms, because it transformed my life. Wow. It totally changed how I live in the world. So,
how did you find that transition going from, I suppose going from the world that you did into, transitioning into the world of the energetic realm? Did you come across any, resistance in that around you, and how did you deal with that?
Absolutely. People found it very unusual that I had gone from working in the prison system and being in a very mainstream profession to something that people couldn't quite put their finger on or understand. Yeah. So it was a very isolating journey for me for a lot of that. And I think as people who love me and the people who love me and know me could see the transformations, gradually over time they kind of accepted. And as I've really stepped up and stepped out in my world and making a difference, people are really just getting it, that this stuff works.
Yeah, so. And I mean, you've been doing it for 20 years, so that's a good amount of time to be doing it, and being such a wonderful gift, I'm sure, to many lives. What's been one of the most rewarding moments for you in that journey?
I think for me, it is about connecting people to their essence, to their spirit. I remember when my sister had her first child, and she was very sad about the fact that I had never had a child. And I remember saying to her, I feel like I've been the midwife for birthing many people into their own essence, their own souls.
Yeah, wow.
And that nourishes me deeply when people step outside of their own stories and step beyond the pain of who they believe themselves to be, and really step into the truth of who they are. That just nourishes me and lights me up. So
yeah, beautiful. And do you think that, we step into that journey and we step into ourselves and our truth, and it's kind of like we go through this journey of you know, it's kind of a paradox, authentically, you know, wanting to be the authentic us, and we're trying really hard to be authentic. And it's just like, you know, in that journey of stepping into our truth and into who we are and our soul's purpose. I mean, it does, that's just the beginning, isn't it? It doesn't end there.
It doesn't end, it's ongoing, and that's the beauty I find even now, that I feel more excited about what's possible for me and my life as a human being on this planet. It just keeps expanding as I keep tapping more and more into who I am as a spirit, as a soul on this earth. But what a privilege to have a body and to be loving this incredible planet and to be making a difference. And yeah.
And in the whole process of being, you know, we are effectively, you know, these are our vessels, and our souls integrate into the vessels, and we come along and go through our ascension process of learning, and we choose our soul's purpose, you know, and come into this process. What do you think it's all for? It's a huge question.
It is a huge question.
Just a little one, you know, to start the interview.
And you'll only get my perspective,
exactly,
so it isn't about true. But for me, it's about living your joy, living in the lightest, most creative way possible. For me, my take on it all is that we are incredibly powerful creator beings. And where we put our attention and where we put our energy determines the kind of world we live in, determines the kind of planet that we experience. And I find that is so, how can I say, inspiring, energizing, invigorating to know that when I wake up of a morning, it doesn't matter what is going on in the world, I am at choice, and I can determine the kind of day and life that I choose.
Yeah.
So my sense is it's about to really be of service, to live in harmony, to experience that higher place of living from the heart.
Yeah. And are you seeing that shifting not only in the energetic world, but also in, you know, the corporate agenda, the corporate world, and the have you come across much of that? Do you find that your world sort of integrates in with you know, the corporate business world as well?
Absolutely. It's interesting that you say that, because 20 years ago that would have been the place that I was most terrified of. Because my journey was all about not owning my power and the consequences of that. So the thought of even stepping into that corporate realm, I felt I would have to become someone other than who I am. And that just terrified me. And the beauty of this is that most of my clientele, or much of my clientele, is that very high-level corporate woman.
Yes, okay, beautiful, and that's
Which
great.
Is fantastic.
Well, I'm sure it's all part of that journey, isn't it, for us to have that support and to be able to, you know, step into that business world, which is very masculine driven, but being able to still honour the feminine in that journey. So it's good that we have people like you in the world to support through that journey and help us stay true to that feminine. So thank you. So talking about the secrets, you know, Secrets in the Garden is going to be amazing. Can't wait to have you there. And what are some of the secrets you might be sharing with people when they come?
Great. The secrets that I'm going to be talking about is very much about how to transform trauma using ancient shamanic principles. So it's about how we can look at the pain that we've experienced, the trauma that we may have even buried and covered over and created very sophisticated mechanisms to survive in the world. But ultimately, you know, it still has an impact. It comes out in our relationships or our choices. And it's how can we go and heal those places and extract the nectar from those moments in time and step into the way of beauty, essentially. Because the places of our trauma are actually the places where our gifts lie, where our medicine lives. And whilst we can create great change as we manage our pain, the true power lives in our ability to turn inwards, to look in those dark places and extract the gifts, extract the nectar. And why I love the shamanic practices is because it's not about revisiting and reliving the trauma. It's about acknowledging it and coming into right relationship with it. And only then can we extract the gifts and move forward from that place.
Yeah, I love that, because there's so many practices out there that really do, I suppose, put us in a position to relive the trauma, and it really doesn't serve us, I don't feel. So it's wonderful. I love the way you say extract the nectar out of that. It's lovely.
Thank you. And I think it's very much the way that we're moving as we're evolving, is that as we own our reality and our truth, that we are energetic beings, it's our power lives in our vibration, our frequency. So to go back and stay therapizing our story is actually contraindicated to our vibration that we want to hold.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And for people who don't know, what would if you could explain to them shamanic, like the term shamanic, how would you explain it to people who may be watching this that don't know what that means?
Great question. I get asked this a lot. And shamanism is an ancient practice. All the indigenous cultures in the world have practiced shamanism within their own format. And a shaman traditionally is someone who is able to walk between worlds. So they have a foot in the physical realm and a foot in the realm of spirit. And they're able to access that realm of spirit to bring back quantas of energy, or those places that we shut down from or split off from. A shaman is able to actually track for those energies and retrieve them and bring them back into the physical realm. So we're not just working on that physical level, we're honouring both parts of the human and the being. And what I love about the shamanic practices is it's very much nature-based. So it incorporates building our connection to Mother Earth, incorporates understanding our connection to all of the living creatures on the planet, the animals, the plants, and how we can shift our human stuff via or with the support of the planet. So in ceremony, in ritual, in all of those practices that are incredibly beautiful, rather than that talk, mind, emotional place.
And in that process of doing that in your own personal journey, what would you say how has it significantly shifted your life in one defining moment, if you could share?
I would say that when because life still throws at me what it throws at everyone else, and I would say it showed up mostly in me facing the death of my father, or the dying process. I cared for my dad as he was dying for about 6 months, and the place of my humanity wanted to fall into such despair and anguish and protection of him from his own grief, and I was able to just hold an incredibly strong energetic space for him and his journey. And as a father and daughter, we traversed that dying process right until he passed in a sacred way, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that. And that's just one piece, but it was an opportunity to have a relationship with my father from spirit to spirit. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Thank you so much for sharing. And we always like to finish on this last question, because we always find it interesting to see what people say. So if you could tell your 20-year-old self one piece of advice today, what would it be?
It would be I've been reflecting on this, and there's been so many, so I wanted to be concise here. And my 20-year-old self, I would say to find a benevolent witness, someone who has your back, and share your secret. Don't hide your secret, your pain, your story, and try to manage it alone. And it's so interesting that this whole forum is called Secrets in the Garden. it's as women, as men, as every human being, is find someone, a safe place that you can share your secret with. Because in doing so, you will have reflected back to you the truth of who you are, rather than what that secret makes you believe you are.
Beautiful. I love that. That's beautiful. So, guys, if this has resonated with you and you do want to see more of Kerri, make sure you grab your tickets and come along and see her. She's going to be amazing. And now I'm thinking you're in the Woo Woo tent, is that right?
The Woo Woo
tent. We love the Woo. You know, funnily enough, the Woo Woo tent has been the most popular, and it was the first one to completely book out. So it was, it's certainly a sign of the times of where we're going, and people are on that search of that soul's journey, and it's a beautiful reflection of that. So we cannot wait to have you in the Woo Woo tent and see you there. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Tennille, and I so look forward to seeing everyone there and having it be an incredible success. It's very beautiful energy around you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Bye.